Fight back is often used incorrectly like a typical aerosol spray can. It's incorrect to spray the teat from the side. It's difficult to turn your wrist and spray below. Instead of turning your hand, turn the can in your hand as if you were shaking hands with a can. Spray from directly below, just like that. Turn the can in your hand as if you were shaking hands with a can. Very easy, very quick. That's the way to do it. Fight back has a place in every farm, especially hospital barns. Use it on injuries, cuts, wounds, injection sites. Turn the can the other way, use it on navels on newborn calves. Use it on injured teats. Udder rot is something that shows where fight back is superior. It's a nasty dermatitis between the halves of the udder, between the udder and the leg, and nothing works on it. But you'll find that fight back, use it twice a day for 2 days, it'll be gone. It's a better disinfectant. Turns out the propellant in the can is actually a very good antibacterial. That's one of the secrets that makes fight back a better disinfectant.
I'm Carly, and we are going to talk about some of your needs to pack for the show. Do you guys ever forget anything when you go to the show?
Always.
Yeah? All right.
We always have to the next day. Remember, I make a list and stick it to my bedroom door so I don't forget out.
So that's one thing I would suggest is make yourself a list before the show. You're still probably going to forget some things, but if you save the list, you can add to it for next year what you forgot. If you guys have questions at any point, just feel free to ask me questions. We'll get up at the end and you can look through some of the stuff. So if you have specific questions about different items, I can answer them. What are some things that you guys think are pretty important to bring to the show? Nicole?
Black magic.
Black magic. Kaylee? Is it Kaylee?
Of course, a show holder.
Show halter. Elise?
Clear magic.
Clear magic. Yep.
Clippers.
Clippers.
A brush.
Yep. Different kinds of brushes too. Peyton?
Rope halters.
Yep. Kaylee? Hose. Olivia?
Baby oil.
Yep. All right. So we'll start going through a list of stuff. I'm going to kind of start with the wash stuff quick. You went through it, but we'll just go through some of the basics quick. So correct, you need a wash hose. You may want to bring a separate hose for watering as well. It kind of depends on how big of a setup you have, how many animals you have, but sometimes it's nice to have a couple. So for washing, you need a good wash hose. You also want to bring a good nozzle. You might even want to test it out before you head to the show because that can be an annoying thing for the week if you're messing with a broken hose nozzle all week. You want to bring a couple stiff brushes for the wash rack, one to scrub with, one to keep out of the soap and be able to brush them down when you're done washing. You're going to want to have some Revive. Sometimes you can spray that on after washing, or you can use it during the day when brushing. You want to bring some wash pants, rubber boots, things like that, especially when you get out of the summer and it gets pretty cold. You don't like to be soaking wet and cold at the same time. So that's some of your basic wash stuff. Like I said, she probably went through more. Feel free to take notes too. I know you guys have notepads with you. So we'll get into some of the other stuff you need to bring to set up. I would recommend bringing cross ties or double ties so your animals have as much movement as they can being tied up all week. Gives them a little more ability to move around than keeping them on a halter all week. With a good snap, that's important, and a neck chain to hook to. Obviously, you might have to cut some of your neck chains for your smaller calves or get bigger neck chains for milk cows. Use what is appropriate. If you get these screw-on clips, you just want to make sure you tighten them after you get all the neck chains on, because cows can outsmart a lot of things. So it's important to make sure things are fitted correctly and tightened up correctly. Also, I would recommend bringing a fan. Probably one fan per 4 animals is good. And it kind of depends on if they're all calves or milk cows. But you can get fans at Tractor Supply or different places. You can kind of research that out. Something you never want to not have enough of is extension cords. What are some of the things you would need extension cords for? Max? Fans, yep. In the back? Clippers? Morgan? Clippers? Yep, hair dryer. So lots of things. Sometimes you bring some kitchen stuff with you to set up for the week. You need extension cords for that. So plenty of extension cords. Same thing with paper towels. They're another thing you can't have enough of. They're an easily forgotten thing, but you definitely want to make sure you have plenty, especially by the time show day runs around. You want to bring a feed scoop or two. You're going to learn more about feeding a little bit later today, but you want to have, a grain scoop, a beet pulp scoop. So you want to have enough of that. You want to know how big the scoop is so you know you're feeding them correctly, how many pounds they hold. You want to bring plenty of buckets. So you want to bring some feed buckets. Your buckets should not get confused, the feed and watering buckets, with your wash buckets. You don't want them drinking out of the same buckets you're washing them in. So a good watering pail for your heifers. Like I said, you may want an extra hose for that. Some feed tubs. You want to bring some manure tubs to catch manure. These big tubs can work great as cow waterers, but you have to keep them filled up. You want your milk cows to have unlimited water, so you can also buy some automatic waterers too that you keep hooked up to a hose, but these work just as good. So that's some of the bucket stuff. Some of the stuff we don't have over here, but you want to have a wheelbarrow with you, appropriate pitchforks. Depending on how many animals you have, bring the appropriate amount of forks. Let's see here. Some of the different brushes you want to bring. So we talked about the brushes for washing. You also want to bring a much softer brush and a nice stiff brush to brush them throughout the day. I would recommend brushing them 2 to 3 times a day. It actually helps their skin and their hair to grow good hair as good as anything. Brings out the oils in their skin. You can use some Revive when you brush them too. Spray it and then brush it in. So different things like that you can do to kind of help with the condition of their skin and stuff. Any questions on the brushes or anything? You want to bring a good tail brush to fluff out their tails every day, a couple times a day. That gets them their big, beautiful tails by show day. Just like the washing, it's okay to do some of this stuff at home before you go to the show. I mean, all of that helps. Then they're made the most ready for the show. Obviously, you need some clippers. It sounded like we had some guys and girls in here that like the clipping stuff. And Max, you're a big fan. So I have a couple things here, hair dryer, some small clippers for around their ears and stuff. Probably want to bring a big blower to be able to blow the cows off through the day and on show day. Tyler will get much more into detail with you with the clipping, and he knows way more about it than I do. But so you want to have some of that stuff. If you're bringing milk cows and bringing your own milking equipment, you want to make sure you have dips, whether it be fight back. I mean, that's a pretty easy one to bring to the shows, post-dip, pre-dip. If you're bringing your own milkers, it's good to have some extra milking parts with you just in case something breaks down. And maybe you guys, do any of you use the parlor at the places where you show, or you bring your own milking? Use the parlor, so then you don't have to worry about it as much. But yeah, you definitely want to have some of that stuff with you. Not going to get into a lot of details on like different medicines that you would need, but you want to have some stuff with you just in case your cows get sick at the show or need an extra boost. So aspirin pills, pill guns, things like that, you want to have with you. I would say one of the most important things is fly spray, because that can ruin the whole show day experience if they're kicking at their bellies the whole time they're in the ring or getting mad about the flies. So definitely have plenty of fly spray. It's right up there with paper towels. We've got some different sprays and stuff for show day that you want to bring. Clear magic, black magic, some depending on what you show. You know, it's going to be a different color for Shorthorns than Holsteins, but you know, bring some different matching sprays. Final Mist is, I would recommend that for your shine, but there are other options out there as well. Baby oil gel for your cows. They put that on their udders, yep. And some people put it on their ribs, so you want to have plenty of that before you go. I would also recommend bringing a knife in case any cows get caught on anything or you have to cut a halter or cut a rope. It's something good, always good to have with you or have in the show box. Bring an extra rope halter in case you do have to cut a halter or something. You want to bring show halters. Somebody mentioned those. Obviously, there's different sizes for different animals. I think it's important to have them fitted correctly to your animal before you head in the ring. I think showmanship judges look for that, and it makes their head look its best if it's fitted appropriately. Show harnesses or something to hold your numbers in. That's a pretty important one. Let's see what I'm forgetting here. A toolbox is a good thing to have for when you're setting up with hammer, nails, some zip ties in case, you know, if you use these tubs for like your big milk cows, you are going to want to tie them in. So whether you use zip ties are a great thing to have. You can't have enough zip ties in the show box. So they're pretty important. And a first aid kit, you never know what's going to happen. So you kind of want to be prepared for a little bit of everything. Some other things I would recommend if you're bringing milk cows to have some udder comfort and different udder creams with you. I think it's important after you show them to put udder comfort on them, just because you are putting stress on their udders. To bring some regular lotion, use that on their teat ends and stuff after all that glue is on there to just kind of get them back to normal. And that would mainly be with milk cows. And some of the extra things, like I mentioned, is a large blower. It's something you don't have to have, but it's nice to have to be able to blow off all of them on show day, and maybe a clipping chute. But it kind of depends on the facilities you're working at and how big of a show string you kind of are putting together. So, you guys got any questions about any of this stuff so far? About what stuff is, or? Yes, Kaylee.
So if you have your own milker, don't you need to have bleach to clean?
Yep, so you need to bring stuff to clean the milker. I mean, you want to do stuff just like you would at home. I mean, your milking equipment needs to be kept very clean. You want to bring bleach, you want to bring some other soap to kind of run through it. Yeah, that's very important. Did you have a question, Grace?
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else does this, but at my Uncle Scott's farm, when they milk cows, they have like teat dip
Yep.
and stuff. Would you like bring like 2 refills of that or something?
Yep, you can, and that's what this fight back is for. You can use this instead of the regular teat dip, and then you have this all week, and you can use it for pre and post dip, but you can certainly bring dip from home as well. Yeah, either or, it works good. Yes?
Are you shining up here?
Or do I
Or
use
do
what?
you use other things?
No, I just use this. What I would do before you shine the udder is use some rubbing alcohol and clean off the udder completely, and then apply that. So you probably want to bring some gloves too, because it's not fun to have it all over your hands. And rubbing alcohol is a good thing to have with you, to have in your show box, to clean their ears, or baby wipes work as well. But that's pretty important, especially for showmanship and stuff like that.